بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا. So, alhamdulillah, it's an honor for me to be invited to, alhamdulillah, it's an honor for me to be sitting here in front of you, even though I don't deserve it, but Ustad Tayyib has asked me, so inshallah I'll try to fulfill the haqq that is upon me. So today, the story that I'm going to be doing, inshallah, is the story of Isa alayhi salam. And to understand the story of Isa alayhi salam, first we need to talk about the story of Maryam alayhi salam. So we understand the background and we understand the conditions under which Isa alayhi salam came. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions, so the story of Maryam alayhi salam, it's first mentioned in Surah Ali Imran. And when these verses were recited, the sabab al-nuzul, or the reason why these verses were revealed, is because a convoy came from Najran, right? And these people were Christians. And when they came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were in a group of around 60 people. And these 60 people, they were under the command of 13 leaders. And then all of these people, they were under the command of three leaders, all right? So these people, when they came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims, they would tell them about the stories of Isa alayhi salam according to them, according to the Christian belief. And their beliefs, as we all know, they were changed in the kitabs and they weren't true. So in response to this, these ayat of Surah Ali Imran were revealed. And it starts from Inna Allah istafa Adam wa Nuhan wa ala Ibrahim. And the story of Maryam alayhi salam, it starts from إذ قالت امرأة عمران رب إني نذرت لك ما في بطني محررا فتقبل مني إنك أنت السميع العليم. So before I get into the story, we already learned one thing, that when someone talks to us about anything, especially in matters of faith, we should know our stance on it. When the Christians came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they were saying their side of the story, that okay, this is what we believe, then these ayat were revealed at this time so that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims know what actually happened. So as we all know, we're living in America where there's different religions. Atheism is prevalent, and we need to have responses for what we're going to hear. We can't wait until someone starts asking us, "Oh, what do you say about Aisha radiallahu anha?" All these different things that we hear. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, Maryam alayhi salam, her mother is not mentioned by name over here. Rather, she is referred to as Imratu Imran. And just to understand the lineage of Isa alayhi salam, so Imran was from the descendants of Sulaiman and Dawood alayhi salam. And on the side, we have Zakaria alayhi salam as well. So Zakaria alayhi salam, as we know, was the one that was tasked with the responsibility of taking care of Maryam alayhi salam, and we'll get into that too. There's a whole story behind how that happened. But how were Zakaria alayhi salam and Imran related? Are that the mother of Maryam alayhi salam and the wife of Zakaria alayhi salam, they were sisters, and according to some, they were aunts. Okay, the wife of Zakaria alayhi salam was the aunt of Maryam alayhi salam, according to different scholars. So, why did let's read the ayah. So she, the mother of Maryam alayhi salam, she made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I want a child. Oh Allah, grant me a child. And the Mufassirun say that why did this dua come from her. So they mentioned that her mother, she saw a bird feeding her child. You know how birds feed their child like that. So when she saw this sight, she felt that she wanted a child as well. So she said, not only did she say that I want a child, but she made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whatever child you give me, I will give this child for your sake to do the service of your deen. And this was a common thing at the time, that they would send their children off to the masjid so that they could be in the complete obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His worship. So, I'm taking a little too long, but to speed things up, Zakaria alayhi salam, he was a prophet of the time, and when Maryam alayhi salam, when Maryam alayhi salam's mother sent, or let's backtrack a little bit. Apologies. So, when the child was born, she says that inni wada'tuha untha, because she was expecting a male child, and as we see, all the prophets, they're male, and all the people in the masjid that would be worshipping, they were generally male. So when Maryam alayhi salam saw that her child was a daughter, she said inni wada'tuha untha. She was surprised that it's a female. So wallahu a'lamu bima wada'at, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew why He had given her a female child. So now the promise is still there. So she gives the child for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's written in the books that this place, it was called Baytul Lahm, and it was very close to Baytul Maqdis by Palestine. So Zakaria alayhi salam, he, because of his close relation to Maryam alayhi salam, he wanted to take care of Maryam alayhi salam. So they drew lots, and the first way they drew lots was that they threw down pens, and on each, or it was sticks. It wasn't actually a pen. The word is qalam, but it's better translated to as sticks. And on the sticks, there were their names of each of the people that were responsible in that place of worship. And Zakaria alayhi salam, his name was on those sticks as well. So at first, they threw their sticks, and they told a young child to go and pick any random stick. And Zakaria alayhi salam was drawn, or it was picked. And then the people weren't satisfied. So then they said, let's do it again. So the second time what they did is they threw the sticks in water. And whichever stick would go against the current of water would be the one to take care of Maryam alayhi salam. So they did it again, and Zakaria alayhi salam's stick was chosen again. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions this in the Quran as well, that we chose Zakaria alayhi salam to take responsibility of Maryam alayhi salam. And they still weren't satisfied, so they did it a third time, in which the correct stick would go with the current of water, and the rest would fall away. Okay, and so now Zakaria alayhi salam, so it was kind of a side story, but getting back to Maryam alayhi salam, she would be in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Zakaria alayhi salam, whenever he would come to Maryam alayhi salam, he would see that she would have fruits out of season. And she, even though she was a female, she did so much worship that Sar al-Madrab, so it's a little hard for me to translate, but she became the pinnacle of what worship was. If anybody wanted to praise someone for doing worship, they would be like, he does worship just like what Maryam alayhi salam does worship. Like if you say, he's LeBron James, right? So like that. Now continuing on, Maryam alayhi salam, when Jibreel alayhi salam came to her, he told her that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided that you will get a child. And Maryam alayhi salam, she says, how is this possible? Right? There's some tafsir behind this, but because of time, I'm trying to skip along. But anyway, Jibreel alayhi salam, he blows into her the ruh of Isa alayhi salam, and then so Isa alayhi salam is born. Okay, it's I've prepared a lot, but I guess there's not enough time. But so Isa alayhi salam, when he was born, now it's obvious that Maryam alayhi salam, she was in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She wasn't married, so now people are going to talk about her that, oh, how does she have a child without any father? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gives this miracle that Isa alayhi salam, he starts talking. he talks as a child as soon as he's born, and he says that he does bara'ah of Maryam alayhi salam, that she's free from everything that you guys are saying, because they started blaming Maryam alayhi salam that she, na'udhu billah, fornicated and all that. So this served as bara'atu Maryam alayhi salam. And so Isa alayhi salam, he grows up, and as he grows up, there are certain miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to Isa alayhi salam. That in his childhood, he was a kid, so he would play with the kids that were around him. And he would tell the kids that, oh, should I tell you what your mother cooked at home? So they would say, of course, and then he would tell them, okay, she made this and that. So when the children went back, they told their mothers, can you feed us this and that? And the mothers would be surprised that, how do you know what I cook? So they would say that, oh, Isa told us this. And then, so when they heard this, then the people of the town, they said that, keep your children away from Isa, because he's going to make them go astray or whatnot. So when they locked up all the children and put them in a house, Isa alayhi salam asked that, what happened to all the kids? And they said that, oh, they became monkeys and pigs. So he said, Allahumma kadhalik, and then they became like that. So, and then as he grew older and older, there were other miracles that happened as well, that, as we all know, he would cure the sick, and he would raise the dead and all that. And on this point, there's something I wanted to talk about, is that all the prophets, whenever they were sent with a certain miracle that was related to the time that they were sent in. For example, Musa alayhi salam, when he was sent, the common theme of the time was that magic was very prevalent. So the miracle of Musa alayhi salam was related to something of that time. That was magic. As we see the stick that turned into the snake, and taking out the hand that was full of light. So similarly, over here in the time of Isa alayhi salam, the common thing of the time was medicine. So Isa alayhi salam was given miracles related to medicine that the normal people, they would not be able to fathom, such as curing the deceased and raising the dead. And fast forwarding, the Khabrul Ma'idah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in the Quran as well, that وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ مَائِدَةً مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ. So the backstory behind this is that Isa alayhi salam had told the Hawariyun to fast for 30 days. At the end of which they asked Isa alayhi salam ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring down a table full of food that will be enough that the last of us can eat to his full, just as the first of us eats. So the story, Isa alayhi salam, he warns them that make sure that if I do this, then you're going to have to fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He says. So they say, okay, we'll fulfill the commandments. And Isa alayhi salam, he goes and he makes dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down the table of food. And it's mentioned that on the table there were 7 hitan. Now, hut, it could either mean a whale or it could mean any fish. So, take that as to be. So there were 7, let's say, fish and 7 loaves of bread. And the people that asked Isa alayhi salam to even bring down the table of food, when the table came down, they were a little bit shy. They said, we won't eat until you eat. So Isa alayhi salam, he responded that, you asked for the food, so you need to eat it. But they were still shy. So Isa alayhi salam told the poor people and the people that were in need that you guys can start eating. And among them, there were destitute people, and there were people that were lepers, and they had different types of diseases. And when they started eating, their diseases were cured. And when the people that asked Isa alayhi salam to bring the table down, they saw this, they started to regret that, why did we not eat? So now going into the shurut, the conditions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed for this table of food. So in the beginning, this table would come down once every single day, and people would eat from it. And it's mentioned that around 7,000 people ended up eating from this table at this time. And then later on, the table started to come down every other day. Okay, just like the camel of Salih alayhi salam. Every other day, the camel would give milk. Just like that over here, every other day, the table would come down. And then after this, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Isa alayhi salam to tell the people that only the poor people and those in need can eat from the table. And when the rich people heard this, they started talking about Isa alayhi salam, and they started talking about things that they should not have been talking about. And when they started doing this, then the table was taken back, and it never came back after that. And those people that said things about Isa alayhi salam, they turned into pigs, and in some riwayas, they turned into monkeys and pigs. And there's other stories as well, from Isa alayhi salam standing on water to making wine in the goblets. That was in his sighar, in his childhood. Okay, and now coming to the main contention, the Christians, they say that Isa alayhi salam was crucified, and that's not what we believe. And this is mentioned in the Quran as well, that وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. So Isa alayhi salam, the story is that when the Jews and the Romans, they got tired of Isa alayhi salam, and they decided to kill him. They made a plot to kill him. They captured him on the night of Jummah, so technically the night of Saturday. So they captured him, and they held him in a place close to Baytul Maqdis. And when he was captured over here, he had his companions with him. There were 12 at the time, and some say 13, and that the Christians, they hid the last one. And At this time, when they were captured, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's another story over here that Isa alayhi salam, he asked the people that which of you will take my place on to be crucified. So when he asked this, nobody except for one of them stood up. And when that one person, another thing over here is that that person was the youngest of them all. So we see that there is a certain importance given to the young people sacrificing themselves for the sake of Allah. Not literally, over here it's literal, but even metaphorically, that giving your time out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doing and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this happened, so he stood up and Isa alayhi salam told him to sit down. And this happened 3 times until finally Isa alayhi salam said that, okay, you will be the one. So it was made to, so Isa alayhi salam's face was not literally put on the other individual, but his face was made to look like Isa alayhi salam's, and then Isa alayhi salam was taken to the heavens. And after that, that person, he was the one that was killed, and not Isa alayhi salam. So inshallah we'll end here. There's a lot more that I had prepared, but inshallah some other time. I apologize if I made any mistakes. Any mistake was from me, and anything I said correct was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He make us from those who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with devotion. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, salamun ala al mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.